decisions getting made at the local level that are causing the state spending to go through the roof, and decisions being made by the state that are forcing more costs and more government waste and spending at the local level. We can do it. We can streamline that process. And I've said that to the mayors. You know, every mayor I've said it to, count me in, Bruce, I want to be on that task force. And here's my first 10 recommendations. They all have some very specific and the unfunded mandates and the regulations. And I've got a lot of buddies in local government who support us in this race, but who, you know, they'll admit, and I said to them, guys, you've put your cost cutting on the backs of the state taxpayers, because you said whenever you want to, cut costs, you lay somebody off or put them into early retirement and then put them into the pension. So dump it off in the state taxpayers when you want to cut your local costs. Cut a salary at your level, jack up the pension costs at the state level. That's been going on all over the place, and there's more and more of that around. And we got to deal with that. We got to put the responsibility where the accountability and the control is, and we'll do it. That ain't rocket science.
Okay, so.
Well, you raised two important points, and let me hit them. First of all, I am a big advocate for tourism and visitors. We have unlocked potential as a tourist destination here in Illinois, and Springfield and Central Illinois especially has untapped potential as a tourist destination. And I want to be very aggressively focused on that. I want to enhance the offerings we do have and bring other offerings to Springfield and drive a major tourism growth here in Central Illinois. There's big opportunity. I chaired the Tourism Bureau in Chicago, Convention and Tourism Bureau, for 3 years before I decided to run for office. Chicago was not playing at its level at all on tourism. It was performing very poorly. We put in a new staff, new board, new marketing plan, and today Chicago is one of the fastest growing tourist destinations in the United States. And we've started to grow again in Illinois as a state, but we can do a lot more, and I'll get that booming. Number two, and this is critically important, yes, I strongly support caps or freezes on property taxes, and that was part of our campaign platform. We're going to do it, but we've got to do it with enabling and empowering local governments to control their costs. Today, a lot of their costs, the local governments are not empowered to control, and special interest groups have bought off a lot of the politicians to keep the spending going up, and we're going to change that, and they'll put a freeze in, and we'll make our property taxes reasonable again. We're not going to have the lowest in America. It's not going to happen, but we're not going to have the highest anymore. And here's a critical thing. I want us to have a reasonable tax burden. We don't have to have zero income tax like some of my friends want to advocate. We don't have to have that, but it should be flat, level, fair, pretty low, because I believe we should have a good social services safety net for our neediest citizens. We don't have to have zero taxes. We don't have to have the lowest taxes in America, but we need to be competitive on our taxes, and we need to grow our way out of our problem, and today we're not competitive.
Okay, Victoria, you had a question?
I do. Welcome to downtown Springfield, Governor-elect Rauner. My name is Victoria Ringer. I'm the Executive Director of Downtown Springfield, Inc., and I did a little research on my own, and not just anecdotal research, but 2,600 jobs have left the downtown area in the last 10 years because of state government moving.
Yeah.
When I worked for the state of Illinois, probably 20,000 plus workers were here in Springfield. Currently, on the books are 17,000 in Cook County and 13 in Sangamon County, which we believe in Springfield that needs to change. It has impacted our economy. It just entirely too much, and we hope that not only will you bring your family, but you will bring the jobs back to Springfield, and I hope we can count on that. Yep.
As I've been clear, I said it earlier, I've said it for many months, I believe that the government should be primarily in Springfield. That I can't tell you exact numbers and timing in which departments. We got to work all that out. I love your recommendations. We're going to be working on it, but this is where the government should be based, and this is our state capital. We should treat it with respect and pride, and the center of the state is it's here for a reason. I mean, we should be a government for the entire state. We're not a state government for one region of the state or one county of the state. We're for the entire state. That's a big deal to me. I want to work for everybody, and I want to work for every family.
Let's take a couple more questions, and then we'll let Mr. Rauner go back to work. Let's see. Let's go over to the side there. Woman, yeah.
Hello, Governor Rauner. My name is Kimberly Bush, and during your campaign, you made several less than complimentary comments about the aviation in Illinois, about flying around in jet planes, governors flying around in jet planes.
Oh,
And I believe that possibly you've been guilty of a little bit of that yourself. My understanding is that aviation is approximately a $13 billion contributor to the state of Illinois. Been several questions over the past few years about the state fleet. Do you plan to make changes in the state fleet?
the short answer is yes. I've said it very clearly in the campaign. We should not have the largest state government fleet of planes in America.
And then as a follow-up, I just want to let you know I'm Episcopal too. Really nice Cathedral Church of St. Paul down at 2nd and Lawrence. Come on down and see us anytime.
I appreciate that. I look forward to that. Yeah, I've got a very interesting religious background. So my dad's family, German Catholic, came here in 1854 to Illinois. We're corn farmers. My mom's family, Swedish Lutheran, dairy farmers. My grandparents were dairy farmers and corn farmers, lived in a little double-wide trailer, spoke more Swedish than English. But my parents argued about it when I was young. I'm the oldest of four, and I was raised Episcopalian as a compromise between Lutheran and Catholic. And I ain't making that up. And you raise an important point. I have flown a bit. I don't own a jet. I'm one of the few, the only guy in my old firm that didn't have. I'm cheap. I do drive. I am going to drive a lot. I don't think the taxpayers should be funding that big, large fleet. I just think it's self-indulgent and unnecessary. We'll talk about how we make the government efficient in transit back and forth between Springfield and Chicago, because that is important, because there can be some cost savings and some strategic advantage. We'll figure that out. But I've said from day one, we've got to be responsive to the taxpayers, and having the largest fleet in America does not make sense.
Hi, Governor-elect. My name is Brian Reardon. I'm with Hospital Sisters Health System. Was wondering, with Medicaid being such a large chunk of the state budget, do you envision any major overhaul of our Medicaid program?
It's a great question. It is a huge part of our state budget. I am a strong believer in a good Medicaid program and health care provision to our most in-need families. I strongly support it. But we also need to make sure that it is efficient, effective, and does not have waste and fraud in it. And from what I've learned in the last couple of years is our Medicaid system needs some improvement. I don't have recommendations that I'll make today, but I'd like to assemble a talented team that really knows Medicaid, really knows health care service provision in Illinois. I'd love to get you part of it if you or some of your partners have an interest. I want to make sure we look everywhere in the program, make sure it's very effective, very efficient, and we're providing services the right way to the right people. And that it's a good program, and I'm supportive of the program. I'm not looking for massive shrinking or reduction of it at all, but I'm looking to make sure that the waste and fraud is dealt with, and we have a very good, effective program.
Two more? One more? Okay. Bethany, where are you? You're wandering around. So you pick the last one, and if anybody's mad, they'll be mad at you. Okay, one more. Looks like a former mayor of this town and a good friend of the BGA.
Thank you very much. Governor-to-be Rauner, I'd be interested in your thoughts about the possibility of abolishing the Comptroller's Office as Judy Bar-Topinka wanted to do. Would you be interested in looking at that over the next few years?
The answer is yes. In fact, I've stated early in our campaign that's one of our policy positions. I think that's probably a consolidation that would make sense. I think it's a mistake to get caught up in fighting about that now. There's a process in place. We should honor that process, but I think we should look at consolidation in that office and, frankly, in some others.
Thank you.
Engaged. And I do genuinely want to say thank you to the BGA. Stay tenacious. Stay a bulldog. Your work can help us have a better government, and I'm all in with you. And I want to say thank you to every one of you in this room. I'm honored. I want to go to work with you. Let's bring back the pride in our great state. Let's bring back the prosperity in our great state. This is home. God bless you. Let's make our home better. I look forward to working with you. Thank you very much.
You're watching the Illinois Channel, an independent nonprofit corporation formed to provide gavel-to-gavel coverage of Illinois state government and other public affairs events taking place across Illinois.
What if you could go back and do it all over again? would you make the same choices?
Excuse me, can I buy you a drink?
What if you chose the other guy? What then?
Hindsight, a new scripted series about a girl doing it differently this time. Premieres tomorrow at 10/9 Central, only on VH1.
Today we're going to take on a classic, reduced sugar chocolate chip cookies. Preheat your oven to 375 degrees. Melt a half a cup of butter and add in 3/4 of a cup of Truvia brown sugar blend, a tablespoon of water, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 1 egg. Add 1 cup of flour, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, salt, a half cup of chocolate chips. Use a tablespoon for each cookie. Yum. For more sweet treats made with Truvia brown sugar blend, visit Truvia.com.
At Enterprise, we hire more college graduates every year than anyone else.
And many of us play college sports too.
From Bulldogs to Wildcats.
Do we have spirit? Yes, we do.
And we put it to work for you every single day.
That's the Enterprise way.
If you could go back and change one thing about your life, one decision, what would you do? I feel like I'm having an out-of-body experience. It's 1995 and I need to wake up. What's the point of having a do-over if I'm just going to be the same old Becca?
We're still getting married today, right?
This isn't just happening to you. It's happening to me and to Sean. And Patrick Dempsey gets cute. Really?
No one was more surprised about that than me.
Hindsight, a new scripted series. Premieres tomorrow at 10/9 Central, only on VH1.
Well, thank you, Rick, and thanks to the ISBA and Dan and the CBA for hosting this event. I think I've been to 14 of these. It's an honor to be here. Maggie, were you listening to that introduction at all? Now, normally I would begin my remarks with a lighthearted story that introduces the theme of my talk. The story would probably involve my time with the Chicago Bears, and it would almost certainly be self-deprecating. That's the standard approach I use when I speak, and people seem to enjoy it, and no doubt many of you have heard just such a speech from me, maybe even at this very event. But not tonight. Tonight I am not going to be lighthearted or funny or self-deprecating. I'm not going to tell jokes, and I'm not going to pause for laughs. Because tonight, I want to talk about something that is deeply serious, something that impacts not only our profession, but also our nation, and something that calls for a response. A response not so much in words or in action, but rather in attitude, in posture, in perspective. As we gather tonight, our nation is suffering a crisis of trust. No one can deny this, and unlike previous seasons of uncertainty, this one seems to penetrate every sphere of life. Politically, the country is split right down the middle on a whole host of issues, with both sides convinced that they are right, and neither side looking for or even inviting compromise. This is true of immigration reform, our response to ISIS, the health care law, same-sex marriage, abortion. On each of these issues, and on many, many more, the country is deeply divided, with no room to meet in the middle. But not only at that, on each of these issues, both sides are convinced that they are on the losing side, so that the resulting dynamic is not one of winners and losers, but one in which everyone feels like his or her values, his or her issues are being marginalized. The last time that more than 50% of Americans believed the country was heading in the right direction was June of 2009.